This week's verse is a familiar one, Ephesians 2, 8 and 9. For by grace you have been saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not of works, lest anyone should boast. This, of course, is a verse familiar to all of us if we've grown up in the church, because it gathers together all of the elements necessary to understand the work of salvation. It is by grace. It is through faith. It is the gift of God, not of works, so that we have no reason to be proud about some achievement. In fact, the only way to be saved is by grace, and grace means unmerited favor. God graciously saves us. It isn't because we have earned it. It isn't because we deserve it. It isn't because we have achieved it. In fact, the Bible is very clear that that's impossible. The Apostle Paul wrote in Romans, "By the deeds of the law shall no flesh be justified." The Apostle Paul wrote to the Galatians and said that everyone who breaks God's law is under a curse, and none of us escapes that curse, for none of us can keep that law. We're all cursed. We're all justifiably doomed to eternal punishment unless God intervenes by grace. And that's what this verse says He does. He brings the grace of salvation to us, and our part is faith. Through faith, it says. But notice the next line, and that not of yourselves. That refers to the entire previous statement of salvation. Not only the grace, but the faith. Although men are required to believe for salvation, men are also dead in trespasses and sins. So they can't believe. The natural man understands not the things of God, so he can't understand. The God of this world has blinded the mind of the unbeliever so that the light of the glory of the gospel can't shine to him. So there he is, dead in darkness, the darkness of sin, dead, as it were, in ignorance, blind. There is an utter helplessness. Paul says in Romans 3, no man seeks after God. It's impossible for him to do that. Therefore, it isn't just the grace that comes from God, it is also the faith. God has to awaken our dead hearts. God has to give sight to our blind eyes. God has to give understanding to our darkened minds. The whole work of salvation, then, is a miracle of God. We receive the gospel. We receive the Lord Jesus Christ. But it is God who awakens us and gives us the power and the understanding and the faith to do just that. Therefore, God's grace is preeminent in every aspect of salvation. None of us can boast about any of it, but we will in time and eternity be thanking God and praising Him and worshiping Him for this eternal grace.